minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, beautiful people? Good afternoon on this beautiful Sunday. Figured I had some downtime. I got up super early, a lot earlier than I planned. And I figured we would hit us a little recap on the foolishness that has gone on this weekend. I haven't really been available because you guys know that I work weekends. Hi, Fiona's mom. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Glad I could wrangle up a stream for you since we had talked about that. How's everybody? How is everybody? I'm hoping your weekend has been fantastic, and if not, I am so sorry. I feel you. I have been working all weekend. I still have one more shift to go before I get another day off, and I can wholeheartedly relate. So what I've decided to do is you guys, my protein coffee, and a overall fuckery recap of the current state of girl world over the course of this weekend. I know you guys saw the commentary, the little short that I uploaded about Foodie Beauty and her comments in relation to Marty going to jail, but you know, that was just one moment out of an entire weekend. Oh, have fun at Wally World. That's a hot mess. I hate going in there. It's just because people act like they got no sense when they go in there. So I figured we would start with share screen. Hello. I figured we would start with the girl world fuckery extraordinaire, professional victim, Foodie Booty's half-sized, long-lost sibling, Miss Just Breezy, who called the cops so that she could reinforce her victim status.
I think you could probably catch up in Discord. Yeah, I had the police in my home last night. I will say, too, it's really great when officers from your city acknowledge how like, amazing you did turning your life around, because I used to terrorize my city with, like...
Okay, real quick. I started there because I was like, this heifer. So, first off, I could see Foodie. I could see, almost called her Foodie. I could see Breezy actually announcing to these officers, I used to be a raging alcoholic, and now I'm a law-abiding citizen, and my life is being threatened. You know what's going to happen? The cops are going to say, good for you that you turned your life around. This is not, I don't think it's carrying as much weight as she thinks she thinks it does. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a town the size that she's talking about here. If she lives in the greater LA or San Diego area, I can almost guarantee them people don't remember her. They see so many people every day that they probably have no fucking clue who she is.
Drunk in public. I was always walking around drunk in my 20s. I was a menace. So it's very good. You know, they can look all this stuff too. So it's very good having somebody see your past and like, dang, you're doing good today. Like, congratulations. He's even said that to me. Like, congratulations.
This is the same chick that said in the courtroom that everybody applauded because her and her grandpa forgave each other. Just saying.
So that was kind of cool. But this account, She Who Stays in Your Mouth, has apparently faked their own death online a few years ago, and a lot of other worse things. But they had a live scheduled titled Missy Moo, please get a hold of me. And they made a community post saying, Missy Moo, get a hold of me. I need to teach you something about how to deal with people on these YouTube streets, especially him. My email, and then they give it. So now we have someone as equally insane as Missy Moo, offering to help her. So I just have a feeling things are going to get worse. But at least there's a police report made. Like, I don't know. I don't know that anything with Missy Moo is ever truly going to get better as long as she has internet access. As long as she has access to the internet.
That's interesting, since that same logic could also be applied to Breezy.
Nobody with kids is safe. If you've talked about her at all, she's coming for you. But she sounds right up Missy's alley, right? Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on that channel too. No, I don't want to get involved with her. I don't want to get involved with her, but I am going to say she's offering to help Missy Moo. Like, people need to know. So I'm not covering that person. Look, I'm just keeping an eye on things, but like, I don't encourage anybody to interact. Don't leave that person comments. I need to say that because I don't think it will be good. That person doesn't seem to like anyone or care what they do. So I don't know, Anna. I slept. And I'm not like that. Like, I don't ever sleep all day. I rarely go live in the morning. Yeah, I needed a me day. I just wish I didn't spend it sleeping. Yeah. Michael said Missy was probably never told no when she was younger. Oh my gosh. Like, mommy's fine. And like, on the inside, like, I'm sad. I'm upset. I'm worried. So it's not even necessarily like, I don't think Missy's going to get on a plane and come in.
Hang on.
You know what I mean? It's just more of what she could put other people up.
I lost my place. I had it marked where she started talking about this whole police phone call thing.
Spending your day? What's busy? Look, I think that was the only thing Missy Moo was ready. And it's not just Marty, it's the community as a whole has really helped spread the word about what Missy Moo and Foodie talk shit about Foodie Beauty. Working to pre-record her content.
Wait.
So I called the police. I called my police department.
There we go.
You know what? I know that certain male creator is probably going to clip this and call me a Karen because I'm just supposed to apparently let people threaten my child online.
Hey, Annie. Good to see you, man.
I don't care. Hey, Kara. Good evening, Caroline. Good to see you. Hey, Joe. Hey, Becca. So I was made aware of the threats in the description of that account. They full on said, like I said, they're coming after my child and they plan to make her life miserable.
Okay, so that's really more of what I was going for, because the actual stream that she went in great detail about this situation, that I could not find for some reason. I don't know if she's privated it or if she's removed it altogether or what, but here we are. I find it interesting that Breezy is utilizing this entire scenario, number one, to, like I said, reinforce that victimhood state that she likes to stay in. Poor pitiful me. When she puts herself into these sort of situations that make her a target. As to people discussing her child, you cannot be angry about the things that you give people to talk about. I have said that over and over again. When you present your child to the internet in some fashion, you are giving them an opportunity. That is your fault. Telling people you're a mother is one thing, but talking about the fact that your kid, giving details about your child, even in the most minute fashion, opens that door for them. The fact that you seem to think that you're above recourse is another thing too. That paints a big old target on you. And then we have behavior like this, and I'm stealing this directly from Perfectly Imperfect off of Twitter. God bless her. Then you turn around and you go right into the chat on Missy's family's church and make jacked up comments. Praise Jesus for Missy Moo. Can Marissa sing? Let me find another one. Praise be the power of Missy Moo. Okay? Stop acting as though you are not participating in this, ma'am. You are contributing to this. You relinquish the ability to claim being a victim in this when you're an active participant in it. This will be ugly. There will be people who will get angry with me for saying this, but I don't feel even the slightest bit of pity for Breezy. If you're worried about your safety, if you're upset that people are talking about your kid, then bow the fuck out. You made it such a huge to-do about how you got a real job offline. Go do that real job. Focus on your actual life, not your online presence, and stop this foolishness. Quit putting yourself in the middle of it. That would be like you pulling the pin on a hand grenade, juggling it until it explodes, and then sitting there crying about the fact that you've blown your hand off. I mean, how stupid can you be? You know, I have had plenty of opinions on Breezy since I have come onto this channel, since I've come on YouTube as a generality. But, you know, I don't watch Breezy anymore. I stopped even listening to short recaps of hers. I stopped paying attention to anything she said on Twitter because the level of hypocrisy that I am seeing from her is almost blinding. You're right. And I am a firm believer at this point that Breezy's entire position in this girl world sphere is to be the designated victim, because that is her role. She pokes and prods and pisses people off, and then gets angry when they say something back, when they push her buttons, which, by the way, people do intentionally because they know that she's going to respond. And she's going to publicize it so that she can wear it like a coat and go, "Oh, look at my fancy victimhood, everybody." This right here also reinforces the statement that I've made about I don't really think Breezy is sober. I think that she is simply dry, because if she were actually sober, she would be saying, "You know what? This ain't my circus and this ain't my monkeys. I don't want a part of none of it. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do a little bit of me. I'm going to give my opinion. I may interject here and there, but I'm not going to involve myself because that has nothing to do with me." The need to be the center of attention, to be up hip deep in it, tells me that there is something off with her. And to me, and it'll be ugly that I'm saying it, but I don't think the girl's sober. I just don't. Personally, given the fact that she has publicly expressed the fact that she's addicted to marijuana, well, no, I'll rephrase, not addicted to marijuana, but that she uses marijuana, there's a pretty distinct possibility that she has swapped her booze for her marijuana. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. So let's hop on to everybody's favorite cow. Everybody's favorite cow, the girl of the hour, the star of girl world herself, Miss Foodie Booty.
Most people in the U.S., because this person is targeting users for attention, which is the last we're giving this piece of crap, you definitely would go to his live stream and document, screenshot, document him threatening you, doxing you, which is completely illegal. And I would go to the police, especially if you're in the U.S.
That would be Foodie Beauty code for I'm too much of a chicken shit to do something myself, so I need you all to do it for me.
We have an open investigation and a warrant to get his information.
Interesting.
So, which I know where he lives, but in the meantime, because they're still at it, I'm not going to let them give up on it. I'm going to keep hounding them until he's arrested with criminal harassment. Until then, just be careful online and don't let him scare you away from doing what you want to do, because he's a
code for please don't step away because I need the money.
Fat sack of crap who can't find his own dick.
That's funny coming from somebody who's over 400 pounds. I'm pretty sure it's been 20 plus years since the last time Foodie has seen her vag without the use of a mirror or a cell phone.
Thank you.
No, she absolutely
He will
doesn't.
be in jail living tomorrow. He will be, don't worry.
And that right there was what cued me to make that short about her and threatening to go to jail and all of that. Because how many times have we heard this? Oh, he will go to jail, don't worry. And I said it. I said, we heard this with Nader. Nothing happened. We heard it with FFG. Nothing happened. At what point are you going to step back here and say, you know, I'm full of shit. Everybody knows I'm full of shit. Maybe I need to just stop talking about this.
We have 2 police
Just saying,
departments,
Hanny.
who have reports on him. And don't
Miss T, what's up?
It doesn't matter. We can definitely reach out to your jurisdiction in Glencoe, Illinois. Don't worry about it. Trashy. I know. Like they the funny thing is they condemn me for being a horrible person to justify. You see in their comments, take these people down, go after them. You guys are innocent people. Like these people are friggin' ridiculous. They hate their lives, they hate themselves. No life at all. Voila.
Said by a woman whose entire content base is literally her sitting on the floor eating enough food for families of 4 and instigating people to go after her. Isn't that interesting?
You don't own the internet, so you don't get to say who gets to go live and who gets to hang out where. If you harass people, that's on you. You're eventually going to get fucking arrested. So
Tell us that you're so fat that you can't bring your hands together to clap like a normal human being.
yeah, they're freaks, really. So they might call people to your house, whatever, tell them to go away, record the harassment and report it to the police and give them the middle finger. That's
Said by a woman who's an entirely half a world away, who's not actually undergoing any of this herself and has not since the beginning. If this doesn't tell people exactly who Foodie is and how she views them, I don't see how anything else would.
what you have to do. It's so pathetic and childish, like as if. And the person, former Beezer, who's dating this guy, and you have the nerve to comment about my weight. You can't even see your privates. I bet you $100. Like, give me a break. And what's so attractive? Can you tell me what's so attractive about a person doxing people, making false SWAT calls?
This right here lets me know the Foodie knows absolutely fuck all. Okay? Swatting and actually calling someone for a welfare check is 2 entirely different things. Swatting is done with an intention of causing bodily harm to another person. The other thing, the whole I bet you can't see your privates and you're just as fat as me. Boo-boo, he can look down and see his feet. I've seen photos of Marty. I've seen the comparative photos that people have put up between Marty and you. You literally are twice what Marty is put together. Let's also add to the fact that I think Marty is a very, very tall dude. He's like what, 6'3", 6'4", something like that. Dude has got bulk to him. There's no question that he is a big guy, but he is not so overweight that he can't see his junk when he looks down, okay? He is not so overweight that he can't look down and see his feet. I think it's absolutely hysterical that that is coming from somebody who, like I said, either has to have a mirror or a cell phone to even see her vag. That a dense, fibrous roll of fat keeps her from her knees touching together.
But if I don't fuck with anyone in this real world shit anymore, nope. Same thing with your mama. Because this guy will call out just boozing all day and night for calling police on people. Meanwhile, this guy does that day and night on people.
Isn't it interesting that she's turned on your mama when she was championing this dude not long ago? What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
His crimes on his channel. Anyway.
Exactly, mouse toes.
Screenshot one of the dogs, exactly.
Yep.
And report every one of his videos for bullying and harassment.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the TOS violation of the weekend. This gal is literally championing her audience to brigade, which we know is a violation of TOS. She knows is a violation of TOS. But when the time comes that this backfires, she's going to be screaming victim, and I never told anybody to do that. I am so glad that there are channels that do nothing but harvest her fuckery. True enough. The crazy thing is, and I'll be truthful with you here, Hanny, I don't rightly believe that she really looks at herself in the mirrors in her home, simply because you can't tell me, despite how over the top she is with the bravado, that she does not despise herself. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such an excessive use of filters and all this other stuff to alter how she looks and how she sees herself so that she can make herself tolerable even to her own eyes. Hey, Lone. Good to see you made it, girl.
And dangerous, harmful acts. I refuse to be threatened by someone on the internet for watching the channel. That's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to thin my herd.
Thin my herd. That to me was a standout comment there.
Okay, whatever. That doesn't, I don't care at all if people don't watch me for that reason. Whatever. Like, they're not my supporters then. So whatever, I don't care. You know? Yeah, they hate people for liking me. They can't just move on and find content. They have nothing. This guy sits on his friggin' channel all day. So let's go after the Beezers.
Real quick, because I got tickled by this when I was listening to it. Sorry if I keep rubbing my eyes, y'all. I'm not all the way awake. I'm waiting for the coffee to kick in. Things are a little hazy. Did y'all notice with this impersonation of Marty that you have the same voice, the same behaviors, the same mannerisms, all being used for Marty, for Gorlick, and for Monty? Here we are. This woman is so two-dimensional that she can't even mock people appropriately. Exactly, 100%. Oh yeah, we're getting there. She touches on that.
Like, fuck right off. I'm hoping to get dogs tonight on Dreamery.
And that comment right there tells you a lot about the people that are in her chat when they're saying they're hoping to get doxxed so that they can do something. How blinded these people are that find their way into her chat and then ultimately become sycophants are just as stupid as she is.
Really sad. Fucking like Shisha's weak as fuck, just like these people.
Weak as fuck, just like these people. This is said again, like I said, from a half a world away. When we've seen how she responds when she's within proximity. She's giddy and giggly and meek. She makes that sort of comment too about FFG later on. But isn't it interesting when FFG was in her face and she had every opportunity to confront the girl and to say what she wanted to say, not only did she not do it, but she kissed her butt the entire time.
Yeah, that's the lowest of the low you can go. Doxing people, swatting.
No, this was from
like, does he think he thinks he can't be touched?
Saturday morning, Hanny.
Okay, well, this person didn't obey me. Fuck you. Who the hell are you? Like, you think you're the king of YouTube? Suck my friggin'. whatever. Like, and no, that's not good Muslim of me. When I'm angry and I'm defending myself,
Right.
whatever. Like, there's no lower people than that online. That's what the ironic thing is. These people do all of these things to people. Laugh at potential suicides of people. They're just disgusting.
Potential suicides of who? Of who? We've already established here. This is her throwback to that little mama incident. The only person in that entire situation that said that this had anything to do with online bullying was that lady's husband. And I genuinely do feel bad for him, and I feel bad for her kids, because honestly, that is a very devastating situation to lose somebody that way. That's an unfortunate side effect of that sort of method of unaliving that nobody talks about. It may end that particular person's pain, but it doesn't really stop things, because all it does is it transfers that pain from that person to everybody else that cared about them. And nobody has laughed about it. Nobody.
Didn't obey. This is his content. Like, thinks it's going to affect me somehow. Like I'm responsible for his actions, so people are going to blame me. Of course, a lot of people are scared, because like people who are pussies are scared of this loser. But
hang on.
Whatever. You have every right to defend yourself. It's crazy when they say you rage. I know. Like, what's her face says I'm raging. It calls the cops at the minute she gets criticized by someone. Give me.
People who are pussies are afraid of this guy. This is the same woman who spent more than a week not doing live streams simply because he made it abundantly clear that he would come after her and everybody in proximity to her. I think realistically, her impulsivity simply finally got the best of her, that she is so immature and lacks such little self-discipline that she could not help herself, that she could not put it off anymore. And that's what prompted this live stream. Let's make it a combination of that and the fact that, Sala is not doing it for her like she claims. She absolutely was not well at all. And the fact is this is not just a girl world community issue. This is the internet in its entirety. You have people who, they go on Twitter, they involve themselves in conversations, and then they get overwhelming responses to having a counterintuitive response to whatever the discussion is. There are people, and that's kind of the reason why with Foodie and with Breezy, I feel no pity, because you are not the only person on the internet who's been threatened. I'm going to kill you. I can almost guarantee 1 out of every 6 or 7 people has had a death threat from somebody, or been told to kill themselves, or something along those lines. That's what happens when you deal with people who have the capacity for utilizing the anonymity of the internet. That's just the way that it goes. It shows a unrealistic level of self-importance. You are not special. You are not some precious little snowflake that makes you exempt from having to deal with the assholery of the internet.
Whatever. I live in a country the deputies don't play that ish.
Let me see. Miss T, and I that's the deal. It says a lot about the lack of self-preservation, when you not only avoid poking the bear, but you go right up in its face and say, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? Why are you going to poke the bear, get in its face, and continue to poke the bear and ask it how pissed off am I making you? How pissed off am I making you? If you were smart, you would shut up and you would back away. But, you know, we're not talking about the brightest pair of bulbs here. Yeah, it is not exempt to girl world, but for some reason, these particular select few seem to think that they are these special entities that people are seeking them out. That is not the case at all. Yes, and I've said that multiple times. I am a Gen Xer, if y'all can't tell by looking at me. I know that I do sort of look my age to an extent. But I was raised in the South where fuck around and find out was not fuck around and find out. It was you talk shit, you get hit. And if you are willing to play that game, you better be invested. Because it's not going to be just doing this or running that gator online. It's going to be, we're going to meet toe to toe, and hands are going to get thrown. And I've said it before, that whole situation between this one and FFG at this fashion show, there might have been pictures. There might have been pictures involved, but more than likely it would have been mugshots and not posed and Instagram and you know, stuff like that. That is not the way it goes with grown folk. Not in my area, not in the area that I grew up in. And I'm sorry, but anybody can have the thought process that you want on it. But I'm sorry, I grew up when the internet was a black screen with green writing on it. Them games was not games that we played. Gen Xers, we are not the better person in this scenario. Don't expect us to be. Don't start none. There won't be none. That is just the way that it is. So for this one, who thinks that she's above it all, the only reason that she does is because she ain't ever been knocked in her teeth before. And that, to me, that right there would solve a lot of her ills if somebody would just walk up to her and knock her fucking block off. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, man. 5 minute long. Dee, 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 dee. Yeah, man. It was like you could sit there and do a whole dance to that thing while it was kicking off. Right. 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 People have gotten too comfortable with being able to talk crap and not actually have to be confronted. That's the problem. And that is the environment. That is the environment that this one has kind of rolled herself up in. Exactly. Exactly. Now, I say that coming from a place of not me talking shit, but because I've been there. And I've made the comment more than once about Foodie, about ALR, about a couple of people. Either you're going to talk about it or you're going to be about it. And this is where a fine line is drawn between some of these folks that are online and those of the rest of us. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to 100% be about it. I ain't got no fear of nobody. The only person that I ever had fear of is no longer walking this earth. The only person whose opinion I gave a damn about is no longer walking this earth. It may sound uncouth. It may sound like a crazy thing to say. I don't have to justify myself to nobody. Nobody. The only person that I ever felt that I had to do that with was my mother, and she is not with us anymore. So what do I have to lose? Not a thing. And that is how I live my life. But being about it is going to entail not backing down from people and letting it be known you are not fixing to violate what little bit of a boundary I've laid forth. And I'm not generally the type to fight because I am a very good-natured person and I don't like fighting with people. But there's another side of me that I have no issue whatsoever letting people know about. The last time that I got into a fight, which has been probably about 20 years ago, me and the girl that went at it, I broke a couple of her ribs because I'm one of those people that once I get to that point that anger comes out, I'm going to beat you until I can't pick my arms up anymore. And that's why I don't do that shit no more. Right. And that right there is a big part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right. Exactly. That comes to that conversation about me fighting. I've had those instances where I see red and then the next thing I know, I can't pick my arms up no more because I done beat until I have just completely exerted myself. And that's not a good way to be because I don't like hurting people. That's true. And that's the issue. That's another thing too that's going to lend to this whole, you better be about it because eventually you're going to take stuff too far. I don't care how much you dislike somebody. People's lives offline have absolutely nothing to do with what they do on this internet. Not a thing. You may not like what I got to say. You may have things that you've said to me or things that I've said to you, but you know what? This is just a hobby. This is just something to pass the time. This is not real life. You do not mess with people's kids. You do not mess with people's ability to pay their bills. And that is just the way that it should be. And it should have stayed that way. But this one, because she has no kids and will never, thank God, she doesn't have a job. She doesn't have anything that is important to her. She doesn't understand that. And she's the one that took it there through the use of her audience because she is a puss.
Yeah, the majority of you live in the States, so you can definitely do something about it. You're in the same country, so yeah. You're not going to stop me from doing my job. You're not going to stop me from going live. You're not going to stop me from doing anything. I'm not the one to fuck with that way. You'll learn that real quick. No one's been on my so that's good. Yeah. Well, teardrop
Yep.
for me. They're just bags of hot air. They literally just sit there night after night taking
Exactly, Miss T.
Like as if they're any better. Meanwhile, they're doxing, calling SWAT. Like you're wasting police resources. Like.
Yet again, tell me you know nothing without telling me you know nothing when you know that you can't actually call SWAT on people.
It'll leave, honestly. I hope he gets arrested. I hope so. But yeah, I've just been trying to stay out of drama because it's so sickening.
I'm trying to stay out of drama, but I came live to do nothing but involve myself in drama.
I just want to watch it all burn down, burn myself down. Look at what's her face, going out with a pedo or a sex trafficker and has the nerve to be talking about me for years and years.
Said by a woman who tried to alibi a rapist. Can we sanctimonious party of one, your table is ready.
All of these morons are proving themselves to be worse than me, but somehow target me in all of their videos. It's so pathetic.
Okay, so I'm pause right there because I talk about her. I think it would be safe to say that given the fact that I have completely outed my history, the fact that I have DUI on my record, that I had an alcohol problem, that I've had weight issues, For those of you watching out there, feel free to chime in. Do you think that makes me worse than her? I mean, if you'll think about this, that DUI led me to sobriety. I've lost, if you want to talk about grand total between weight loss surgery and, combating menopause, I've lost over 200 pounds in the last 20 years. I work more than one job that doesn't involve making an ass of myself online. Let's see, what else? I pay all my own bills. I don't have to order takeout every day. Oh, and my tax bill is paid in full every single year. And you know what else? And this one is the key. Even as a raging alcoholic, you know what didn't happen? My animals were never neglected. My animals had everything they needed and then some. Because I cared more about them than I did about me. So let's say that everybody out here talking about Foodie Beauty is worse than her. If my current state of affairs makes me worse than her, then I'll stay worse than her.
They're all stroking this stupid idiot's ego while meanwhile the girl's scared of them.
Exactly.
Like, the funniest thing is what happened with Missy Moon. Like, somehow she expects sympathy from me now, when she was just like, just before she got turned on, she was threatening to out Salon, which she has no information on. We literally have the same conversation screenshots that she has with her husband. The only thing that Salah ever said was like, they revealed it before on her channel, it was like something like about how I was impulsive, because remember that time I had a fight with him in Canada, that one fight, and he like had someone to talk to because we trusted them. Good thing we stopped trusting them whenever we did, because.
Okay, so just a quick little point here. Do you notice she said, Missy expects pity from me now? That leads me to believe that there has been ongoing contact between Missy and Foodie this entire time. And that would also explain the reason why Missy never went scorched earth on Foodie. There were all these little backhanded, half-assed videos and, dressing up and all this other nonsense that Missy was doing. If you're done with somebody and you have this sort of relationship in this sort of environment, what's going to happen? You're going to lay it all out there. Cards on the table. I already had that feeling from the get-go, which is part of the reason why I don't like Missy Moo, and I did not like Missy Moo this entire time. And this whole, I want to redeem myself, I want to be a better person, I didn't believe any of that. Because particular types of people gravitate to each other. This is who Missy is and has always been. The difference is that prior to her following Foodie, she wasn't so emboldened to let it out. There's always one weak one in a relationship. Right. Personally, I think that they've been in some sort of contact this entire time, despite this dog and pony show that they've initiated back and forth. But Missy is now actually gaining the full repercussions of things, because I can almost guarantee you she sought Foodie out saying, help me. I've done nothing over the years but defend you. And now I've got this guy attacking me because I was associated with you. And look at Foodie's response. Sucks to suck, doesn't it?
Since then, she's been making videos on me every day, you know? Who cares if I spend his teen years shoved in a gym locker and now we have to pay? Exactly it, Ava. We'll have information to try to get in his and dig in his wild things against the law and I when we trusted them. Talk to you, I still think you're funny. You still think I'm police if you get targeted. Dox your old addresses. What a loser. Anyone who doxes or you waste police time is a loser.
Shall we run down the list here? FFG, Perfectly Imperfect, Breezy's Kid. Let's see who else. Oh, Dee Dee's place of employment. Dee Dee's mother's nursing home. Let's see who else. Nader. Anybody else I'm missing? Can y'all think of anybody else? Because here we are. That puts us at a total of 7 people she's doxed. Yeah, Dee Dee's job. I threw that in there. Took me a second. I had to think. It's happened so many times. Yeah. It's happened so many times. Yep, threw that one in there. It's happened so many times that it's hard to keep up. Unless you're pulling a Marty and you have a running dossier. Oh, that's a good one. I did forget about Shannon. T and Sass. Yep. The only way to actually truly keep up with the fuckery that is the Foodie Beautyverse, it would be to have a full-blown dossier like FFG has or, Marty has. That would be the only way. Oh, there's another one. The neighbor's kid, E. That's right. Somebody who has no. Yep. So, this is somebody who's trying to claim, right, I said perfectly imperfect because not only did she dox her personally, but she doxed her work address too. And basically opened an entire building worth of school-age children to possible harm. Ooh, Marty. Right. Well, I don't know if she did specifically, but I do remember seeing in the chat when that was doxed where she said, "Oh, wouldn't that be a shame if somebody called them?" Foodie is not the type to get her hands dirty. She dog whistles her audience is what she does. It's just like the conversation about, the CPAP rescue. She came on the live stream and boo-hooed and poor me and he won't give me my stuff back, and did that until one of her audience members called the law for her because she would not do it. Because she knew that when she did, that things would literally be done between her and Nader. She knew that. And she proceeded to use that. I didn't call them. Somebody in the chat called them. I didn't ask them to call. They decided to do that on their own. But when they showed up, what did she do? There's the cops. She was happy. That's exactly what she wanted. Oh, there's another one. Allah's wife. Allah's wife had nothing to do with anything that happened. Not anything. She was an innocent bystander who was really on the periphery. But we know Foodie hates women, especially women who do not look like her.
So, anyway, I'm not giving up on the case, and I will keep pursuing it.
She's not giving up on the case, a case that she doesn't have. Isn't that interesting?
No matter how long it takes. Sometimes these things take time. Like, look at a murder investigation. They take time against murder.
First off, I don't see any police department actually devoting time to internet fuckery when they actually have real crimes to go over, like murders and rapes and pedophilia. Just saying.
So you have to wait. Yep, keep the screenshot for sure. Yeah.
Right.
She calling your names because you talked about your religion. She was vulgar. She's disgusting. She's subhuman.
Agreed.
She's subhuman, and she's gonna get hers too. Don't worry. I don't know how YouTube allows these pieces of crud to be on YouTube and just like harass people every day.
It's called fair use, dude. That's the other thing, Lone. I know everybody has seen me. I'm a vapor. But y'all will see this and y'all have seen me do this. I have used this. But even though y'all are not in the room with me, what do? I blow it off to the side. That is purely a common courtesy. That is etiquette. There are people that work around me that are smokers that, you know, even though they know that I vape because they are smoking regular cigarettes, they blow away from me. And I've had one of them say, I don't want you to have to worry about smelling like a cigarette because you don't smoke cigarettes. Foodie doesn't give a shit. Exactly.
Like, I don't get it. She's such a coward. She can't even show herself. But she sits there judging everybody. Like, she's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know why that disgusting hypocrite watches me, because she can't make money otherwise. It's so sad that I have to live rent free in your disgusting head. I love it. I love that for you. Cackling witch. Like, that's the thing. People like will side with her because they think.
Lone, I knew you weren't talking about me. I was just expounding on what you had said. You know, that people who are actual smokers, they don't do that sort of thing. They understand that it's rude. There is etiquette involved with everything, even smoking. And it goes to show you that this one is really not a smoker, between that and the fact that all she does is she loads her mouth up and then blows it back out. This one, I don't really think that she has any sort of actual smoking habit. I think she does it because she has an oral fixation. She can't sit here and eat perpetually 24 hours a day, because what happens? Look at where we're at here. We're at almost 500 pounds because of that habit. She has to have something else. And she says, too, that it keeps her from eating. So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, you're totally fine. No. God's honest truth, Lone. I'm not like that, honey. I understand exactly what you meant. When she's the furthest thing from it.
I'm a bad person. But meanwhile, they'll watch her berate me every single night. Whatever, stay mad, do what you gotta do. I don't give a shit.
And there's the confirmation. She says she doesn't watch FFG, and FFG's worthless. But just got through saying to sit there and watch her berate me every single night. Seems like you're a fan.
Exactly, Nelly, because like we're living our life, we're getting ready to travel. And yes, I'm gonna travel at my size. You'll see.
Me too, I'm sure.
She's so mad. She's the one who rages. She's the one who rages. The handsomeness man. Yeah. And a scale tour. I did a video of my scale. That's never bothered me. I'm not ashamed of my body. Like, the only thing that bothers me about my weight is if it limits me to do things, health-wise. What makes me mad about people talking about my weight is that they're all fat too.
I have said I'm a fat girl. I'm 196 pounds, though, at 5'10". I can almost bank that as a 196-pound chick, there is so much more that I'm capable of doing than Foodie. That's why I got incredibly amused when she made that comment that anybody over 250 pounds has no business discussing her. I thank you. Well, here's the deal, y'all. I understand what you're saying, okay? By the technical standard, by BMI, I am obese. I am working on that. But I have also always said, shit, I wish. Thank you, Lone. there's my daily ego boost. I appreciate that. I say that I'm a fat girl as someone who was 350 pounds. I have said that I will forever be a fat girl. There is a fat girl in this body. It is just in a smaller skin suit. That's all that is. And I say that because I love the hell out of food, y'all. Y'all have heard me talk about it. I don't care if I'm trying to eat. I don't care if I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm going to eat good too. Thank you. But y'all will hear me call myself a fat girl, and that's where it comes from, because it doesn't matter how small I get. I was a fat girl for majority of my life, from primary school. They'll tell you how old I am. For those of y'all that don't know what primary school is, that means elementary school. Until the time that I was 21 years old, I was morbidly obese. I have spent more of my life as a fat girl than I ever did as a normal weight, ever. So my being in a smaller skin suit these days doesn't change the fact that I'm a fat girl. I view things from that lens, and that's why I say that. It's not that I think that I'm fat, because I am definitely healthier than I have ever been, you know. I mean, hell, by comparison to Foodie, I could run a damn marathon, but it doesn't change the fact that my fat girl tendencies will always be there. You know what I'm saying? There's my sister. What up, Heather? Thank you. That's exactly the point that I'm making, Heather. See, and this is why. Okay, for all of you newbies who are in here that are people that don't get to come through very often, this girl right here, this is my sister from another mister. Me and her have been friends since middle school. You know what I'm saying? Miss Fiona, honey, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Foodie. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm making sense, because my coffee still ain't. Only thing my coffee has done for me thus far is made me sweat. I don't feel like I'm actually, you know. So y'all, those of y'all that are girl world, you know, members here, Heather is my best friend. We've been friends since forever. I would bury a body for this girl if she needed me to. She has had the girl world crash course. Y'all show her some love.
That's what makes me mad about it. I go around in circles. And they're gonna call this a rage. Meanwhile, I'm only addressing them raging against things against me. So if they're so dumb, I won't expect children. Actually, they act worse than children. Actually, those people who do these things about children are just teaching their children that. It's disgusting. So if he does anything, just hit me up, and I have his address, his full name. It's like Nicholas Biegler, and he lives in Glencoe.
Okay, so Miss, I don't dox nobody because I'm not evil like that, and whatever. Amidst her, you know, condescending tirade, just dox this man on live. Tell us you're an asshole without telling us you're an asshole. Well, right. None of this is happening to her. That's the main reason she can't go to anybody, you know. She has absolutely no self-control. Heather, I'm not being kind. I'm just calling it truthful. You are like me, baby. We're like a hard shell candy with a soft, chewy inside. That's all that is. All right. Let's see if we can get to something worth responding to here.
And then siding with Matter, you know that they clearly know that he's a woman abuser. and they don't even care.
No, they don't care because Marty has basically said that Natter is basically a means to an end. He knows that bothers you. That's why he's doing it, because you are so easily manipulated.
So that's on them. Disgusting people. Anyway,
Yep.
don't feel betrayal, right? Especially not Furry, because he's already fat enough.
Oh, I'm gonna cut that one right there. The irony of somebody 450 pounds at 5'2" calling somebody else fat. Yes, it did bother me too. Well, I mean, God's honest truth. I mean, realistically, nobody should be apologizing to him. Exactly. Oh, and see, y'all, this is why it's my girl. This girl right here, see, you can tell we was raised together, because this one right here, she says some of the same shit that I think. I do what I can. I mean, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. Heather, you're going to love it. I know you don't really keep up with all this foolishness like this, but the girl about gave herself a heart attack trying to walk 10 minutes in the desert and really only made it about 4 or 5 minutes. You know? She ain't going to be long for the world the way things is going, and realistically, the world is not going to be lacking simply because she's not in it. Okay, so let's see. Real quick, I want to touch on ALR here, and I know y'all see this. That is my ugly mug there. Okay. I don't know how many of you guys actually caught this live stream, but there was a whole section in here where I talked to Becky about the situation with her feeling as though she will never recover from dealing with Amber. Okay. And then I started talking about self-love and what it actually entails. There's got to be more of that in this world. There does have to be more love, you know, and stepping off into that whole sort of deal, because Amber said some bullshit like that about self-love. Self-love is not always necessarily just being kind to yourself. Sometimes it's being hard on yourself too, which is something that I feel like she's completely blinded to. The people that love you most, your parents, they give you tough love. They push you to do the things that you don't want to do, to eat your vegetables, to go to bed at a decent time when you were a child, to do your homework, to expand your knowledge. All stuff that we hated as children, right? But we're better for it. We've got to start doing that for ourselves now that we're adults. Somebody's got to give us that tough love too. So who's it going to be? Because we can't ask somebody else to do it. You know? And you may eventually get to that point where you can do a dump in SH, but for right now, it is simply bridging that gap for you. Put in that work. Exactly. What happens when we indulge as a method of loving ourselves? We fail to see the downside of that, of how indulging, simply because we think we're loving ourselves for it, how that indulgence can eventually backfire, right? Okay. I replayed that to play this.
And I stopped getting high on August 14th, and I told myself, no,
it's time for some self-love. I also got back on track with my weight loss. I think what really kicked it into like high gear for me was when I stepped on the scale. I realized how much weight I had gained, and I was absolutely shocked.
Real quick, she was absolutely shocked as a 543-pound woman. Boo-boo, why are you shocked? You've gained like 300 some odd pounds over the last 10 years since the inception of your channel.
Like, for the first time in a very long time, I saw myself going down a path that was massively self-destructive.
For the first time in a long time. Says the woman who wears a blinder box of takeout products.
So I'm going to share that right here.
Hello.
And I multiple times stepped on the scale to see if it was accurate, and each time it said the same thing. Like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, what if like the scale is just broken? Ew, here it is.
Okay, please come.
Because it just really shows like how bad I was treating my body, honestly. And I know, like, you guys don't have to come for me. You guys don't have to rain on my parade. It is a lot of water weight. No, I'm not going to continue losing weight this quickly. Oh my God, yes, I've done all the diets in the past.
I'm not going to continue to lose weight this quickly. Ma'am, we've established that the minimum caloric intake for you to stay your current size is over 3,300 total. There is no way in the Sam hell that you are going to lose probably anything beyond the water weight, because we know what you're trying to say that you're eating, you're not actually eating.
And I always seem to fail. Like, we all know all of this, but I really just want to be like positive and proud of myself, because that is what is going to motivate me to keep going further. I don't really want to talk about like how I'm losing weight or what I'm doing, et cetera, because I noticed that like people can massively get into my head, and like people are so opinionated online, and I don't want to hear other people's opinions on how I'm doing this. But like, when I do it for a hot minute and I notice like, wow, this is actually working, and wow, I actually feel really good doing this, then I will share that. But
which will never happen. Her keeping anything to herself is not likely to happen, because the girl has no content. We have seen the same video over and over again for months. The other thing too is she doesn't know how to not monetize her weight loss, you know.
As of right now, I've lost like 8
Me
pounds
too.
in 2 days. My body is just like, girl, keep it up, because we need to lose some water weight so we can start losing some fat. I'm just really proud. Yay! Grocery haul, folks.
Hang on, let me find this here, because she went on this whole discussion. Hang on.
On the phone with the apartment. I've been super unconditionally just in love with my parents, regardless of.
Wait. There's another one. Anyway. Come here, you. Thank you. I played that simply because there was another clip and I can't figure out exactly where it was at here. Hang on a minute. I'm having technical difficulties and I got a fuzzy button in my way. There was a whole point where she said, you know, self-love is not just about giving in to the things that I want. It's about doing the work. It's about going to therapy. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about this. It's about that. It's about this. So, mind you, that particular clip happened after this live stream that I showed you guys, where I had this lengthy conversation about the self-love ideology that she's clinging so hard to, and how many Swiss cheese holes there were in this, and the fact that I don't believe a word of it, because it's just her talking herself into things or talking herself out of things, that it's not going to work, you know. And this sort of lets me know too that number one, Amber has been watching me, because of course she does. She's just like Foodie. Hi, Amber. Nobody believes your bullshit. And the fact that she watches everything that has Becky tagged in it too, because I tagged a whole section to Becky where I was telling Becky, you will get through this. You just have to do the work. You have to push through. You're going to have to start giving yourself the love and grace that you deserve, and stop relying on other people to do that for you. You know? So that lets me know her and this whole, self-love is really hard, and being hard on yourself and doing stuff that's hard. It absolutely is, which is part of the reason why Amber will never know anything about it. I don't care what she says. I don't care how hard she tries to preach it. Nobody who is 540 pounds loves themselves. Nobody who is that obese has any sort of care for themselves when they have abused their body to that point and continues to, and stays in denial about it. Right. And that's the deal. That's her deal, Heather. She thinks that because she signs up for Weight Watchers, that she is actually doing something. She doesn't actually follow through with it. She literally cancels her membership 2 days later. But she feels like she's done something. And what gets me is, oh, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. Boo-boo, how about you save being proud of yourself till you've actually made some progress? You know? I mean, Heather can tell you guys, when I had weight loss surgery, I was a big girl. And do you know that I didn't get to that point where I was proud of the progress that I'd made until I actually had to buy an entirely new wardrobe because none of my clothes fit. Right. That's exactly the crux of it all. They get a dopamine hit from the planning. It doesn't have to have any sort of tangible end result. They feel like they're doing something, which gives them the dopamine, which makes them feel like they've accomplished something when they haven't. I mean, God's honest truth. I mean, I can sit here and plan going to Bora Bora all day long. Hi, Amber. Side note, honey, the likelihood that I'm going to go to Bora Bora is 100% more likely than it would be for you to ever see Bora Bora. Just saying. Knowing that I'll never go to Bora Bora, though. I mean, why would I do that when I've got a beach literally 10 minutes away? You know, sort of defeats the purpose. But I could plan that trip all day long and look at all the things that I could do and say, ooh, that would be nice. And that does give you a dopamine hit. It's been proven, you know? Right. And I can testify to that, Heather, because you know I love you, but you make plans with me and you don't always follow through on them, girl. Don't make me love you any less, though. Right. These ladies live in a sort of state of delusion where they feel like they're capable of accomplishing more than they actually are. And it is what it is. But you would think that the fail to follow through would be enough of a wake-up call. Hey, you know what? I have said that I'm going to do all this stuff and I can't even leave the apartment. There's something wrong with that. I don't want to die without ever having done anything that I said that I want to do. You know? I know. You know, I just love giving you a hard time. You know? That's why I had that pretty lengthy discussion on that last live about the fact that, you know, self-love requires you to push yourself to do the things that you wouldn't normally do, to deal with the things that you're afraid of. because facing your fears, pushing through the difficult moments, and for, getting into uncomfortable places is what leads you to be a better person. And that's why Amber and Foodie will never progress, because they are too comfortable with being comfortable. Start with the small stuff, Fiona's mom. You already did it today. You went to Walmart. You were around hundreds of psychotic people. That's a step. We'll take the wins where we can get them. You're actually doing more than ALR and Foodie combined. That says volumes. True enough, SH. Good to see you, by the way. So, that is the recap on the Girl World Feckery this weekend. Anybody else got anything they want me to touch on? Anything that we want to chop up? Because I'm open. I'm open to it. And I still got about another 30 minutes before I drag my sorry behind off this computer and actually make some forward motion into the start of my day. So what do y'all want to do? What do y'all want to talk about? Is there anything y'all want to look at? Because we can do it. Hey, they 100% have, and that's okay that he's your security blanket. Everybody has to have something that helps them cope. I don't fault you that. It's okay, SH. I'm still happy to see you, honey. I'm totally fine. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. I haven't watched a lot of Music Biz Marty. I did watch some of the stream where he talks about Foodie's live. And a large part of it was, big old part of it was Cyrax. And I just can't even stomach him, because I listened to some of it and I was like, oh my God, this man is a walking waste of space. Bring back the times of the Romans where we threw the defective infants off the cliff. He would have been the first to go. That's ugly, but that's truth. I mean, no offense. Somebody taking pity on Cyrax developed him to who he is today. Did he? I think I missed that part. What did he say, Fiona's mom? Let me see. I don't have the video for it. I was actually going to talk about MFW's live stream where she relapsed and ultimately ended up passing out on stream. As somebody who has been where MFW is, I feel bad for her. I know how devastating it is when you lose your way, not just to you physically, which we know MFW has problems from her drinking physically. We know this. But it's very devastating to you mentally and emotionally too, especially when you get enough time built up that you feel like you are sacrificing yourself. You feel like you are betraying yourself, your higher power, everybody around you in the process. But the pain that you're feeling is so overwhelming that it overtakes everything else. I hope so. Well, he needs to get around to it. Hey, Dainty Gorilla. Me too. Dainty Gorilla, I actually told my folks at one point, and I told my dad this after my mom passed away, because they were very, very worried that I would relapse because of her passing. And I told them the same thing that I'm telling you all now. And this will be a solemn vow, because it is for me, to me. I will die a sober person. That was a vow that I made to myself a long time ago, and reinforced it with my mother that I would never go there again, because I don't like who I am when I'm that person. Well, from what I understand, mind you, this is all secondhand. I mean, we know that she has had GI bleeds, and she tried to claim it's from stress. It's not from stress. The number 2 causative factors in somebody like her would be the smoking and the drinking, especially after weight loss surgery, because we have a standing regimen with post-weight loss surgery of medications that you're supposed to take to reduce acid buildup in the stomach, because if you don't, you can develop ulcers without drinking or smoking. So throw the fact in that she smokes like a chimney, and she was drinking really, really bad. You're doing continuous, perpetual damage and inflammation to the stomach lining. And if she's not taking the acid reducers and things of that nature that is dictated for us, then it can cause a bleeding ulcer. So it doesn't surprise me that she had that issue. Yeah. Somebody else, what I heard said too, is that she has some some altered liver panel readings. So that's not a good sign either. Right. For those of us that are in the program, that actively work a program, that's called playing the tape all the way through. We have that initial thought process, but in our head, we're like, okay, if I take this drink, what's going to happen? And from there, we play through every scenario that could lead from that one drink. And it is never a good thing. No, it's not. And God's honest truth. And I know a lot of people don't like Katie, but I understand Katie. I used to be a lot like Katie. When I was drinking. So, I get it. But I also get too that, a large part of the addictive process is stemming from trauma. So there's a lot of unresolved stuff that's happened with Katie that is leading to this, and I'm a firm believer that anybody who's willing to do the work, who's willing to get sober and do whatever it takes to stay sober, they're worth that redemption. They're worth that effort, and they're worth being able to change their life and turn their life around and to be whatever they want to be, because I've seen it happen so many times with people who have, gotten sober and said, that's it for me. That's it. I don't know. I honestly believe, based on what I've heard, that it sounds like she transferred addictions, which is really, really high from weight loss surgery. That's actually what led to mine. It was a cross-addictive thing. I didn't even know that was a possibility when I had weight loss surgery. I didn't find that out until after I got sober. So it's a shocking level. It's like 60%, it's wild. I done run my gator so much that my coffee is lukewarm now. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Believe it or not, I have the bucket photo too. For those of y'all that you won't have any idea what we're talking about, there was a point that Heather and I got together and have dinner. I was stone cold sober. We were sitting out on this patio, and there was a 5-gallon bucket that was sitting on this patio that was supposed to be for cigarette butts, and it actually had it written on the bucket, the butt bucket. And I got pure tickled by it, you know. And I went over and sat down on it, and I said, "Look, it's a butt bucket." And me and her both ended up laughing, and she took a picture of me sitting on the butt bucket. Right, that's where butts go. You know, I am genuinely happier as a sober person. I get more done as a sober person. You know, my connections with people are better as a sober person. I'm more connected with the God of my understanding when I'm sober. You know, I don't walk around worried every day about things going wrong when I'm sober, you know, and those of us that are drug and alcohol addicted, when we're actively using, we are just a mess, mentally, emotionally, physically, you know, and that is part of the reason why I worry about Katie, because I think deep down Katie has the potential to be the person that she has always hoped that she could be, you know, and I genuinely wish nothing but the best for her. I hope that she wakes up, because, I mean, she's very young. You know, she's still got more than half her life ahead of her. And I guess she doesn't really seem to know exactly how great her life could be if she invested in herself, you know, in that way. I imagine that doesn't help, but God's honest truth. I mean, her being sober and being online, still being a mess, even though she's sober, I don't think it'll hurt her that much. I mean, look at ALR and Foodie. They're not alcohol and drug addicts at the moment, despite how much ALR wants people to believe that she uses marijuana. I don't think she does. And Foodie's been off the booger sugar for a while now, so, you know, but you can still be a mess and still be entertaining and draw people's attention online without being self-destructive. It's entirely possible, you know. But I do think that Katie underestimates exactly how much control she's going to have if she picks up a drink. Okay, well, that would mean probably that there's something lacking in this program. Usually that means that there's some sort of, you know, lack of spiritual interjection, you know. Maybe it would not be a bad idea if he got in with like a 12-step program of some sort that'll help teach him how to integrate that. You know what I'm saying? What's up, girl? Hey, Vanessa. Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's, I think, like what'll differentiate me personally from some of the other people in the community, like our Breezies, like our Kayas, who use that as the foundation on which they built their channel. I am a sober person, but that's not all there is to me. And that doesn't make me an authority on anything. It just means that I'm a healthy enough person in my recovery that I can give an additional perspective on what I see. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that realistically that gives me the ability to judge. And that's part of what I think initially drew attention to my channel, is I made a video about the Breezy and Jessica Meska situation and how she was treating Jessica early in her sobriety, because I wasn't really okay with that. As a sober person, you do not go out of your way to try to derail or shame people who are brand new in recovery. The whole point is you keep your recovery by, didn't mean to hit the mic. You keep your recovery by trying to help others attain it. That is how that works. And that's why I've said over and over again that Breezy is dry. She's not sober. There's a difference. Okay, here's what else you can do. Needs rescuing from the dryer. Did he climb into the dryer? Love you too. Have fun prying Roy loose of the Maytag. Here's something that you can do, and it will blow his mind. It will probably upset him. Okay, but this is what you do. Get you a schedule for the meetings that he goes to. There are meetings that are designated as open meetings, which means they're open to the public. No one is kept out of those meetings. Okay, go into those open meetings. Make sure that they're the ones that he's going to. And believe it or not, even though that's a man for you, even though you are not an addict, you still have the ability to share. You can pick your hand up and say, "Hi, my name is Fiona's mom. I am here because I have a loved one who's an addict. They are currently in the program. I need to know how to navigate the beginnings of their recovery, because what I'm seeing is XYZ. And what's going to happen is the people who have longer standing recovery are going to actually interject and give you the layout. Right. Dainty Gorilla, that's an excellent point. But I do think I brought up the particular meetings that he goes to simply because that will give them a connection with the community that he's involved with. And it's been my experience that when your family knows people that are in your group with you, it actually makes that connection better, to me anyway. But there are AA and NA, NA meetings for families. You have, Al-Anon, that's specifically for the families, family members and children. But do not allow him to hold you hostage. That is not what that program is for. The program is to change how he responds to things, not to make you change how you interact with him. No problem, Fiona's mom. Exactly. That's the position I've always taken on it, Vanessa. I have my problems just like everybody else. The only difference is what I've chosen to do with them, how I would choose to grow from them, and how I proceed from this point forward, Yeah. God's honest truth. Like when I talk about going to the meetings that your loved one is in, an open meeting, my mother went to several meetings with me. I introduced her to my sponsor. I introduced her to people that I was friends with in the program, people that had a lot of long-standing recovery. she come in, sat in the meetings. She, when they said, if you're new here, raise your hand, introduce yourself. She did that. And the other thing that she did is, when I first got into AA, I gave her a copy of the AA book. And I said, here, I just want you to have this, if you're willing to read it. I think it would help you to understand the things that I'm going to be doing, because there's a lot involved in this. And I don't want you looking at me and saying, what are you talking about? And she read that entire AA book cover to cover, So investing some time into figuring out the program that he's in and meeting some of the people and kind of understanding how it works will make a world of difference. And my mother and I, after she did that, my connection with her only strengthened because she understood the verbiage that I would use, all the various sayings of AA. And, the crazy thing is, and as much as I loved her, she would make me crazy with it. She would be like, hey, Rule 62. I'm like, stop it. And she would actually use my own program on me, which was sort of great for me because she was always the person that would call me on my nonsense anyway. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh, wait. Okay. Well, it wasn't really that. I would call her, just to vent about something. And she would be like, are you going to a meeting? And I'm like, yes, I'm going to a meeting. I'm like, I have a sponsor. It ain't you. Just listen to me complain for a minute. Stuff like that. But when I would say certain things, it would help her understand what I was trying to get out without having to break it down and give like this lengthy version, of things. So, Okay, real quick, I wanted to throw this in here too because I absolutely love Richard Grannon. And it'll kind of throw a little additional light on this Foodie Beauty live stream related to Marty. Look at the title of that, Confronting the Narcissist, 6 Things They Will Do These 6 Things.
Hello, there are 6 things that narcissists do when they're confronted. Number 1 is deny, deny, deny. It's a good thing to remember that the core of the narcissistic personality disorder is a core of no. It's a core of denial. It was developed in an environment where the child was so traumatized that they couldn't accept what was happening to them. And as a survival strategy, they learned to push reality, push facts, push data away and exchange it for their delusional fantasy version of themselves and of reality. So the first thing that will always be done is deny.
Foodie Beauty, paging Foodie Beauty. Your seat in narcissism has been confirmed. That entire live stream that we covered was her denying. I've never done this. I'm not an evil person. They're childish. I want no part of it. I'm so evil, but they're the ones doing it. Yep, it gets better.
The second thing that will happen when you confront a narcissist, the second stage, will be to attack. Why would they attack? Well, if you look at the CPTSD model, as outlined by Pete Walker, of what narcissistic personality disorder is, this is a fight, aggression, fawn, submission response. Where's the submission? The submission is in the fact that they're charming. They can be giving. They actually can be quite codependent and can seem to be people pleasers, but then they switch, then they become aggressive and they attack. Why do they attack? Because they've learned from a very, very early age that attack is the best form of offense.
She absolutely knows that she is. We actually there was one stream that I did where I played another video by Richard Grannon where narcissists are very much aware that they are self-actualized in this. They know what they're doing. It's not some unrecognized behavior on their part. This is an active participation on their end.
So when they're presented with the facts of what they have done, that absolutely is seen through their perceptual filters as, I'm being attacked. It's not just that people are stating that water is wet and the sky is blue. No. I did not yet decree that water is wet and the sky is blue. So therefore, this is an attack. An attack, because of the fragility of the narcissist's boundaries and the scarcity, the paucity of their boundaries, they see it not just as an attack on their false self, but as an attack on them in their essence as a human being. And because they're attacked in this way and they're very fragile, this is called a narcissistic injury. And the response that they will give to that is a counterattack, far more disproportionate, far more aggressive than the original attack, which wasn't an attack at all, that they received. And this is called narcissistic rage. Number 3.
That sums up Foodie Beauty in fine fashion. Richard is only on number 3. We're just getting to number 3, and he has summed her up in 2. He might as well have tied a bow on it. You know, it's crazy. Yes, she absolutely does. And that for her is the chink in her veneer. This veneer of, I'm unbothered. There's nothing you can say that I haven't already said. I like me for how I am. That's the chink in her armor.
The third thing they're going to do is they're going to start switching reality around and then representing it to you.
Woo! Say it again, Richard.
This is also called reverse victim and offender. So if they were guilty of having done a thing, they will represent the situation. They'll do some mental gymnastics. They'll do some internal evil alchemical magic, and they'll present up as down, left as right, and right as wrong. They invert everything. They invert values. They invert reality. They invert perception. So if it was them that did the thing to you, it will be fed back to you as though you had done the thing that they had done to them. So even though you are the victim and they are the offender, you will be segued into strange, bewildering conversations in which you end up apologizing for having attacked them, for having exploited them, for having used them in some way, because such is the skill of the mental jiu-jitsu that they're using, that they'll make you feel like this is something that you've done to them.
Prime example on that is the situation between Foodie and Shannon and how everything played out. Shannon was trying in a vain attempt to actually get Foodie to talk to her. And what happened? Foodie aired out Shannon's private life on a live stream, unprovoked. So obviously the normal rational human being is going to say, you know what, I'm not taking this lying down. I'm going to defend myself. This is not okay. And then she ended up talking with FFG and it all went from there. But what happened? Foodie took that and said, see, she hated me so much that she went to somebody who I hate to try to damage me. It is the same tactic that Richard is covering here, almost textbook.
The other reason why this can work is because it's so traumatic and so confusing talking with somebody who really does have malignant narcissistic personality disorder, that it generates trauma. And one of the effects of that trauma is that we start to dissociate. So you will forget the sequence of events. You will forget who was in what role. You will forget what the context and the objectives of that scenario was. They'll turn it upside down. They'll present it back to you. Suddenly you'll be feeling all of this guilt and shame, and you'll feel a strong conscientious urge to apologize, to be a peacekeeper, and to make it better. And what they've just done is they've just reversed victim and offender.
I don't think really it's at that point where it's physically exhausting for Foodie, simply because she's been this way so long that I think this is all she knows now. This is her day-to-day level of function. Now, going back to what Richard was just saying, with the Foodie and Shannon situation, the problem with that is Shannon being more mentally strong and developed as a person did not fold to Foodie's manipulation in this. That's the difference. And that's why Shannon has been pegged as an enemy, as a liar, as a manipulator, when the entire world watched how this situation developed.
Another thing that you will find the narcissist doing when they are confronted is that they will switch off and become very cold and detached. This can take place on a spectrum. You might get the full-scale silent treatment, or at the very least, you'll be met with a cool, aloof indifference. If they respond at all, their responses will be very, very withholding. The desire here is to generate as much abandonment anxiety in the target as possible. That's you, to make you feel a strong sense of stress, a strong sense that you have brought drama and guilt and shame into the relationship, and that you're making things difficult just to get you to stop. The end goal that they have is dominance, and in order to achieve that dominance, they need your submission.
I pause that to point out anyone that submits to Marty's intimidation is a pussy, and I don't need those people in my orbit. Don't come in here if that is your way. If you use any sort of rational threat assessment, then you are not my people. You should have undying, unfettered loyalty to me. Even your family, your job, the things that you love should be sacrificed at the altar of me. Hello, Grateful Life. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Another thing that you'll find a narcissist doing when confronted with facts is the smear campaign. They will go out and start to attack your reputation, your name, knowing that there are revelations on the horizon about the things that they have done that include, the receipts, the text messages, the emails, the phone calls, certificates, bank details, everything. They know there's raw, hard data that's coming that proves that they absolutely are guilty of doing things that there was no justification for them doing whatsoever. They start to attack the reputation of the person or persons of those who will ultimately expose them. Why do they do this? To discredit the source of the information. They can't really discredit the information itself because it's there in black and white. So they'll begin to weave a narrative that discredits the source of the information, and they know what data is going to come to light. So they try to recast it within a new narrative.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, Lone. That's 100% accurate. Yep. Absolute facts, Cowboy Dog. Here's another thought, Lone. And here's part of why I think that has become the case. Even the most normal of people, at the beginning, when they get into girl world, eventually become toxic themselves in a way simply because they are delving into toxicity on a daily basis. The ones that have made it almost a primary focus of their channel, like your Monties, your Gorlicks, your Kayas, of that nature. I'm not saying that they're perfect people, not by any stretch of the imagination, because we know that they're not. But they focus so hard on the toxicity and they delve into it so far that eventually the toxicity is contagious and can actually eat you away from the inside. That's why, me specifically, I touch on the toxicity. I discuss the toxicity, but I'm not about to immerse myself in it. I just don't have the energy for that. Exactly. You are what you devote your time, your energy, your focus to. And when you spend all of your time on that, it can eventually leach into your system, whether you mean for it to or not. Right. And I mean, realistically, taking time off is not just necessary, but having other things that you devote your time and attention to that are good for you spiritually and mentally and emotionally, those are going to be highly beneficial, which is something that is going to be lacking for those people who spend all of their time devoted to this sort of thing.
These things were completely innocent, or these things were completely consensual, or these things were part of some other game that was inside of a game that was inside of a game that you're not even aware of. Of course, anybody with half a brain can see through the narcissistic smear campaign. The first thing that I described to you was called DARVO: deny, attack, and reverse, victim and offender. That's a good place to start from, because that's what you're going to see a lot of when you confront a narcissist with the truth. I would say, for me personally, if you are planning on confronting a narcissistic personality disordered person with the truth of what they've done, do it according to a schedule, according to a plan. And a good plan always has multiple contingencies inside of it. Make a good assessment of what they can and will do to you in response to what you have brought to light. Be careful, protect yourself at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you found that video useful. If you did, I have an entire course that's available from here on overcoming narcissistically abusive relationships and escaping them forever. As ever, thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
I absolutely adore Richard. Richard is actually a very, very knowledgeable man. He travels all over the world. He actually does in-person courses on overcoming CPTSD and escaping narcissistic abuse and just overall, mental and emotional health improvement. He has 30-day programs that you can be involved in. You don't have to pay for them. He breaks down, okay, for the next 30 days, here's what I want you to do. You can take a notebook, sit down and write in it, keep track of all of your progress. Ask yourself these questions. Here's what you need to look at. Here's the things that you need to follow up on. Basically doing the shadow work necessary to improve oneself, which is lacking a lot in this particular side of the YouTubeverse. Yeah, well, I say this as somebody that I don't really call myself a creator. Not really. I don't really give a damn. I don't care how things are perceived. I said what I said. I said it with my whole chest, and I'm going to defend it with my whole chest. And maybe that's just because of my nature. I have never been the type to have somebody back me down. It's just not going to happen. If I know that what I'm saying is accurate, it's factual, that I'm not the only one that can see it, you're not going to change my perspective on that. I guess I'm very defiant in that way. I've always been like that. If I know where I'm coming from is from an objective, provable stance, it doesn't matter what you say to me, and I wish everybody could function that way, because how much more honest this whole part of YouTube would be if we were capable of that. His name is Richard Grannon. I'll click on it right here and I'll add him back. Richard is actually, because he's very knowledgeable. He's actually very funny in how he, talks. He has whole live streams where he interviews people. He does sort of delve some into politics, so be aware of that. Don't be turned off by it. Most of his perspective is very amusing in relation to how he speaks on things. But he's very, very smart man. And I absolutely adore his accent. I could listen to him talk all day. So him being a smart man, him being a charming man, and of course the lovely accent. He's kind of a package deal for me. And the fact that he speaks to things that we see day in and day out in girl world is very beneficial as far as I see it, simply because, it gives additional insight into the things that we're seeing on the screen, not just from ALR and Foodie and those sorts of people that we talk about, but it gives insight into the people in girl world around us that are exhibiting the same sort of symptoms. Very welcome. Exactly. Realistically, if things actually do stop serving you, then, a break is going to be required. There's no question about that. And that's applicable to anything. If it stops serving your efforts to better yourself in any way, then it's got to go, even if it's just temporary. Oh, girl, prayers that you're going to get it. Go forth and prosper, my dear. You can do this. If I can work around prisoners all day long, then you absolutely can too. And I think, based off of the conversations that we've had, you're not going to have any problems at all. You know how it goes, Vanessa. Be firm, be fair, be consistent. Listen to them, hear their problem, and meet them in the middle to do what you can to try to resolve the issue, but don't allow them to take advantage of you in the process. Obviously, we are still there as nurses to care for them and to make sure that physically their needs are addressed, but we're not their friends. You know what I'm saying? We're their advocate, but we're not their friends, So don't worry. I got faith in you. I have a feeling you're going to be just fine. Side note, talking about jobs. Okay. Y'all know that I've been working at the ALF, okay? Still there. Y'all know I've been doing side work from agency, still there. How about this, though? I had a little wrench thrown in my works here lately, and I don't know what to do. I got an email from a headhunter saying that they saw my resume online and they felt that I would be beneficial to their establishment. So I started looking a little further into it, and it would be teaching other LPN students. Now, I sent them an email back and I said, I don't know if this came to me by accident. If not, then that's really quite the compliment. But the last time I checked, you had to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree to teach LPN students, and I do not have a bachelor's or a master's. If it was by mistake, I still take that as a compliment, and I do hope you find someone who you feel would be beneficial to you who meets those standards. But if they answer me tomorrow saying that that is not a requirement, what do I do? I mean, you guys know, we've talked about this. I love the patient education side of what I do. And that's what this is. The difference is, though, is I would be teaching the next set of nurses. It's a Monday through Friday job, 8 to 5. The only downside to it, I can tell, is that I would have to go all over the place to different sites to do clinicals with these people. I would be responsible for everything these students did while they're with me. But the idea of being tapped to teach, y'all, I don't know what to make of that. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I have actually had somebody leave a comment on one of my posts saying that they felt like I could be a teacher because of how I break things down and explain things and the terminology that I use while I'm doing it. And I have always said that I enjoy doing that sort of thing, but I don't know if I want to make that a professional thing. You know what I'm saying? But it would be for a local college here, I believe, based on what I found when I started researching. I thank you, Vanessa. I don't know if I would. I don't know. Think about it. That would be minimum 4 hours a day talking. I think it takes a special sort of type of person to be able to do that. And I do love teaching, but I don't know if I could. I don't know. I just don't know. That's true. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about that. But I got the rest of tonight to ponder over it and to see what they say as a response tomorrow, because they may email me back and be like, oh, well, no. We emailed you on purpose. This was for you, and if that's the case, then it's going to be, what do I do from here? What do I do from here? I don't know, maybe. I know that, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there are some programs that just all you have to have is your nursing certification, and that's really all, but even their position posting, when I found it, it said bachelor or master's preferred. And that's why I was just like, I'm not qualified for this, So yeah. Right. And that would be for me a big part of it, is not just teaching like the actual hands-on part of it, but teaching them how to educate the patients themselves and explaining the things that they're doing and stuff like that. And also kind of beating it in, you treat this patient the way you want to be treated, That's true. I mean, I am a rather sociable person, but I've never actually had to teach. Not really. The closest I've gotten to it, was when I was with the chicken plant. I had to do a whole section on health and safety and incident reporting and safety investigation and repetitive use injury and stuff like that. So, that was probably maybe an hour at the most. And we're talking about, even if I have another person who does the other half of the curriculum, that's 4 hours a day. That's a lot of talking. That's true. That's true. I guess you're right. Yeah, I would think so. And I've done a lot of things over the years. I mean, every time I've been presented with an opportunity to do something that I haven't done before, which was emergency room, I jumped at it right off the get-go. When that got presented to me right out of nursing school, I was like, hell yeah. And that I went into it for the wrong reasons. I went into that because my mom had been an ER nurse for 2 decades at that point. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so awesome. So there's that. Then I did med surg, then I did clinic, and then I did home health, and then I did, workers' comp and workplace, occupational health, and, prison. I've always been that type that I want to expand on what I know, because everything that you learn can be beneficial to you across every discipline of nursing in one way or another. Yes, I know, but I'm kind of like, sort of thing. Right. And I think I'm going to probably reach back out to them if I don't hear from them, um, and just see what they say, Right. I mean, I've never really been, it is an absolutely great point, and I've never really been job scared because I know, that it doesn't really matter what area I go into. I mean, I have enough experience that there isn't much that I haven't seen or that I'm not capable of dealing with, It just caught me off guard that I was like, I never would have considered teaching because, that requires such a higher level of college education. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you guys saw the video where I said that I registered for the training class to be an administrator for an ALF. I mean, I may never get a job doing that. I mean, there's only a select handful of ALFs here, but I'm doing it for my knowledge base. It'll be something that I have in my pocket just in case. And, who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky and I will be able to do that later on down the road through, freak circumstances. And me doing the right thing may cancel out this bad administrator that I'm dealing with right now, Right. Well, they did actually have the pay rate listed, and I think it was like, what is it? Hang on a minute. Do I have a calculator? I don't think I do. Hang on. Whoops. Wrong deal. It would be around $60,000 a year based on the hourly rate that they had listed, which is definitely more than I make now, with the ALF and everything. The upswing is that I would be at home in the bed, sleeping like a normal human being every night. So I've got a lot to consider. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I agree. But I mean, realistically, truth be told, we know how it goes. Gotta pay them bills, girl. Gotta pay them bills. And, girl, I have grown to appreciate being able to sleep at night like a normal person after decades of being up at night. So that's where I'm at. I've got to spend the next couple of days sorting through that and having conversations and just seeing how that plays out. But, the way I figured, I'm never going to go without opportunities. There's too many different things that I could do with the education that I have. I'm never lacking in that department, but the fact that they saw that and they were like, hey, we think you could be a teacher. I was like, wait, what? Excuse me? Say that again. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, I do think, though, the one benefit that I would get out of it that I haven't really said so far is that I would have, I mean, I've said many times that I haven't really been trying to work full time, that I really want to be more focused on trying to enjoy my life a little bit. And this would be full time, no doubt about it. But it would be consistency. Go to work, leave work, go to the gym, come home, have dinner, go bullshit on YouTube a little bit, go to bed, sort of thing. I appreciate that. I will take all the help I can get to help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I understand that, I'm a fully functioning, capable human being, but it's just hard to know what to do sometimes, Right. And that's kind of, I've said before that I'm all about taking risks, especially now that I've gotten sober and I've stayed sober. I'm all about it. I'm like, I want to push the envelope a little bit, Thank you, grateful. That's really, that's like one of the best compliments I think I've ever gotten, I mean, worst case scenario, the way I figure it is, if this doesn't work out, if the conversation stalls, if I don't, if I don't end up in that step, I still have the ability to teach people in one way or the other, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. All right. So I did not mean to. I was supposed to get off of here at 8 because I've got stuff I've got to do before I get ready for work. And here we are, and it's 8:30. That always happens when we get online, just to BS. I completely lose track of time with you guys. It's because we have such a good time while we're talking, So much as I don't want to have to go to work, I do have to go to work because I'm the only nurse on the schedule. So I'm going to have to dip out of here and start to make some sort of concerted effort to walk out of the house a responsible adult. I thank every single one of you for coming through. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Oh, Starburst, you were late. You slid in under the wire, but I'm really glad you're here, and I'm glad you decided to stick around. I appreciate that you enjoyed being here and hanging out with us, because I enjoy being able to hang out with each and every one of you, honestly. Let's see. Well, the only thing that keeps me from travel nursing is my animals. I don't feel right about dragging them all over the country. They get stressed going into their carrier to go to the vet. You know what I'm saying? So dragging them all over Kingdom Come, Lord have mercy. I would feel awful having to put them through that, Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to call it a night. Thank y'all again for coming through and hanging out with me. I'm going to lay my mama's wisdom upon y'all before we go. Y'all be sure to dream and dream big, because those dreams are free. But remember to do and see and have those things. The hustle's going to cost you extra. So y'all get out there and hustle. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Thank you guys to the ones on the rewatch. Catch up with you guys soon. You have a good night. Bye, y'all.